first two are nearly complete, and we are shortly about to start the last match this evening between Emirates and England. It's been a very intense competition this year with everything to play for, and the team who finishes in last place will be relegated to the challenge section next year. Don't miss any of the action as we head in to the last day tomorrow. I'm Lynn Carpenter, and I'm delighted to be joined tonight in the commentary box by Kendra Slavinsky. Kendra, welcome.
Thanks, Lynn. It's great to be here. It's great to be part of this festival of sport.
And obviously, good game coming up this evening. Thoughts on day two so far and how the game this evening may go?
Well, I think it might be a little bit unsporting of me to suggest an England win, but I think England are certainly the dominant force here. They're very confident after 2 wins. The Emirates, I think they may surprise us in patches. They had a fantastic win on the opening game on Friday, but I think that England have perhaps got a little bit too much in terms of their team and their bench for the Emirates to cope this evening.
And looking at these two teams, they're both under 17. You would have thought that there would be quite a degree of closeness between them, but what do you think is driving the performance that we've seen, particularly from England this weekend?
Well, I think the level of competition and the access to competition that England has. We all know that England's got a really strong pathway. We know that the Super League is very strong, and underneath the open level at Super League, you've got the franchise level with the youngsters. Unfortunately for the Emirates, they're not quite at the same part of their pathway yet. They're still very much developing.
So possibly a match which may see England emerge as the winners, but as always in netball, nothing is certain until the final whistle. So the teams, as you can see, are about to take to the court. Last game this evening. Don't forget, the netball is live all weekend, and of course you can join us in the netball conversation. Use our hashtag #AnyUnder17Champs, and we will read out some of your tweets and messages tonight when and as they come in. So let me tell you who the starting lineups for the two teams will be this evening. So for England, the starting 7 this evening: goal shooter Thacker, goal attack Rimmer, Bayliss in at wing attack, Roebuck at centre, wing defence is Bowen, the vice-captain, goal defence Faduji, the captain, and Harding in at goalkeeper. Coach for England this evening, Victoria Burgess. And as you can see, Emirates taking the court. Their starting lineup this evening: Stapley starting back at goal shooter as their captain, Allen in at goal attack, Zickerman at wing attack, Van Heerden, the vice-captain, at centre, in at wing defence Borley, goal defence Sproul, and goalkeeper Steffi. And coach for Team Emirates tonight is Deb Jones. So interesting lineup, Kendra. Anybody stand out there who you think we should keep an eye on this evening?
Well, I think Georgia Allen for Emirates has been incredibly dominant, but I'm really excited to watch Fumi Faduji. Saw her earlier today, and I'm really excited for the future of our England defence.
So we are just waiting for our umpires this evening to start the game. Lindsay King and Ryan Edwards taking control of the match, and Claire Williamson in reserve. And here we go. So good reading of that game. Cross-court ball intercepted.
Yes, and it's a fast transition from that turnover ball, but equally contact called by Thacker, which gives Emirates possession coming back through the court.
So it'll be the first time Emirates have come up against a team perhaps of England's calibre.
Yes, and you can see the England defending high, got the turnover straight away. And that's the start they would have wanted. Turnover ball, transition through to goal.
So England leading very early stages of this game, just 1-0. Very easy into the circle there, perhaps, Kendra, a bit too easy maybe.
I think from what I've seen of England today, and looking at the start of this game, is their second phase off centre pass is very strong, the depth that they get towards the edge. It'll be interesting to see if the Emirates can counteract that. Nice change of direction to free up some space.
You can see them looking to put the ball over the head, but for DJ, they're not making it easy.
No, I had thought at the beginning they would start to look into the pocket to the top of the D, but in retrospect, it's not going to work. Whereas at the other end, the height difference, that kind of tactic would work easy for England as long as there's accuracy on the feed.
So Roebuck at centre for England. Starts the centre pass, 3-0. Almost identical. Reaching to the circle there.
I think the target might have been 2 passes and in a circle.
So Van Heerden for Emirates.
See, they've closed their own space down. They're all on the same side of the court. They really need to open up the spaces.
We saw a lot in the game earlier where perhaps just because of space awareness, Emirates were doing a lot of what we call windscreen wipers across the court. Yeah. Really hard to find each other, and when you've got defenders like this.
Very rangy, very athletic. Look at that elevation and that lift, and again you'll get quick transverse ball out that hopefully England will convert.
So Kaduju.
Yeah, it's a lovely ball into the pocket. I mean, the Emirates team come with great energy. They come with a work ethic that only Deb Jones as coach would instill in them.
You might have heard the commentary earlier in the weekend when the captain of Emirates was interviewed after the Northern Ireland game, and she said that at three-quarter time they got a rocket from DJ as coach, and it seemed to inspire them to go on to take that win against Northern Ireland, which could of course be really important for them this weekend. We're all watching the scores, and we know that if Northern Ireland are successful tomorrow in their match, then it's all down to goal difference.
Yes, and it's up to Wales to stop them, but I'm sure equally Wales have got one eye on the silver medal. That was a little bit of a loose, unexpected loopy pass there. I was expecting that to come from Thacker with a little bit more drive. But you can see the height difference, and a really lovely place ball with finesse will hit the shooter's hands every time.
So England taking quite a strong lead already, just under 4 minutes of this first quarter here in Huddersfield gone, leading 7-0. Seem to make it possibly number 8. So Emirates will want to get onto the scoreboard. They've really got to focus on getting the ball to the edge of the circle, Kendra.
Yes, the England defence are really putting a good line up at that centre pass, and it's a real struggle to get through. They've got to open up the space for themselves. A little bit better there. It was good that Van Heerden wasn't tempted to draw it in, but again, tight-knit defence by England, easy turnover. It's an unforced error.
So Sethi brings the ball out.
And this is where they get stuck. That's much better use of depth.
So Emirates have rotated the shooters, playing Allen out now and Stapley in. I think Allen was quite effective in the last game out there. But I think against the England defence it's all been proved quite challenging. But a good score there. 8-1, England lead.
Yes, it's quite easy off the England centre pass. There's very little pressure on the second phase ball. Emirates struggling to get the ball across that attacking transverse line. That's much better there by Stapley.
Nice into Allen.
This is a nice forward dominant drive by Stapley, which opened up the top of the circle.
And she was rewarded by Emirates' second goal, 9-2.
That front option is on every time. Sethi just needs to keep her feet moving, keep moving round Thacker just to confuse the space. Don't let her settle.
So looking at options, better finding depth on the baseline, but unfortunate unforced footwork error.
So it's just really easy, clean ball through the top, up to the circle, to the top of the circle, right through the middle of the court, wide middle, hit the top. There's the width, there's the middle. Somebody should hit top. Very well drilled.
It's almost as if you've been coaching them, Kendra.
I do like my wide middles and my wide middles, as my little team in Bedfordshire would attest to.
Just having a bit of court readjustment here. There we go. Reserve umpire. Sorting it out.
And the physio comes along with a little bit of tape to
Magic
stick it
tape.
in place.
It's not only the magic water, it's the magic tape too. Here we go. DIY. I'm not sure if the viewers back home can see this because the camera's focused on the centre court. All the actions in the goal circle at the moment. Looks like X is marking the spot there. Kendra?
Yes, you can see by the lines on the court that it's a multi-purpose venue, and it's a beautiful venue here at the University of Huddersfield. But as you can see, the round holes for the badmintons and the volleyballs, one of them's just come a little loose.
So a bit of DIY, we're all back on, so SOS DIY here in Huddersfield is live and well. Great ball and confidence to pass that shot over those two, goal defence and goalkeeper for England.
And it's a fast transition by England, using both sides of the court, and again you've got that lovely feed at the top of the circle.
So Rimmer scoring a comfortable long shot. England are leading this quarter 13 goals to 2. We're just over halfway through here on day 2, match 4 of the Netball Europe U17 Championships. And remember, join us in the conversation, hashtag NE17 Championships. And we will do our best just to let you know what your views are.
And again, that's good work by the England defence.
Great shot by Allen.
I think any opportunity they get this evening in the circle, they really need to take in order to keep the scoreline competitive. But
Thacker having a very good game for England.
She is, and she's having lots of really good uncontested ball. And again, another unforced error. Just need to get off that sideline into the middle of the court so you've got a little bit more space. And here's the transition.
So very quick hands. The speed of the game perhaps is just causing Emirates to hesitate. They're not quite sure how to get in front, put a bit more pressure on the ball trajectory.
It's not easy in there for Spool and Sethi because the Emirates are not scoring themselves. So the ball is just coming up and down. Oh, unforced error.
Well picked up by Sethi.
Really good pressure by Rimmer there. It's always good to see your goal attacks defending. Most coaches like their teams in transition to get their attackers defending high.
So we're just 5 minutes away from our first quarter break. England in a comfortable lead here in Huddersfield, 17 goals played, 3.
Again, it's the long reach of Fumi spoiling that centre pass for Emirates, but they're still in possession off the sideline.
Again, that pressure, Kendra, from the whole defensive unit that is England out there.
I think when that happens and when England come in forward and close that ball, that space down, I think they've got to start to look with the long ball a little bit, using what's behind them, but that takes confidence.
So Kaka puts it in, 19-3. For those of you who have joined us from the start of the match, our apologies. We had a few technical issues a few minutes ago, so you might have lost the live stream, but don't worry, if there are key parts of the few minutes you've missed, you will be able to watch it all later on our YouTube after the game. So apologies, we are back up and running fully here in Huddersfield. So bearing in mind some of the other scores this weekend and the fact that if Northern Ireland beats Wales tomorrow and sends us into a goal average situation.
I hope you've got your calculator, Lynn, or at least fingers and toes.
Maggie Jackson will have a calculator ready.
I mean, that would be exciting, but equally, you know, you've got to look at the way that the competition is this year, how exciting it is, the challenge that's there. It'd be quite interesting. As I said, Wales will be looking to confirm their second seeding here. They'll be looking for that silver medal. So it's going to be a very interesting Sunday. Still lots to play for.
And of course, no team wants to finish in 5th place and find themselves heading to our Under-17 Challenge section in March next year. Sproul doing, Worley doing her bit there, great interception. But again, just not watching where the positioning of England netball is for those interceptions.
Yeah, Zimmerman came down for that ball and didn't really need to come, but that's the pressure that England are creating. A really sweet ball into the post.
So 22-23 now plays 3. 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Faduji did well, keeping that in. So expect to see some changes perhaps from Emirates?
I would have thought so. They might look to bring Shaman in at wing attack because they are struggling to get that ball perhaps over the 3rd line.
So remember, if you're watching at home, use our hashtag #NEUnder17Champs. Send us your messages. Quite a few of you watching the Twitter feed for Netball Europe. Millie Edge liking comments about England Under-17s when they beat Northern Ireland earlier on today. I hope you're enjoying the coverage this evening too, Millie.
That was good patience by England. Reset the ball back to the 3rd line.
And Thacker saw it was dropping a bit short and drove onto the ball, which I know coaches talk about a lot.
Absolutely, that's what all your players looking at, angles, driving into spaces, you know, take on the space as well as take the ball.
And do you think, Kendra, with the involvement of the England players in the NPL and Super League franchises, that this will have given them an edge not only in their competitive match play but also their physicality?
Absolutely, because what we're developing through that process is the whole player. I think in the past we've sort of got stuck just with the general coaching, but now we're looking at the physiology, the nutrition, we're looking at the balance of the whole player.
And as we have to keep on reminding ourselves, these are young athletes, 14, 15, 16 years of age, huge amount of netball left in them. How do you balance that between the demands of the sport at this level, but also the longevity that we want all of the players to do?
Well, I think it's our job as coaches and administrators to make sure that we do protect them, that they're not overloaded with competition, and that there is a fine balance between training and competition.
So as the teams head to the bench for the first interval, England have taken a convincing and very strong and dominant lead in this first quarter here in Huddersfield. They lead 25 goals to 3. So could we be seeing the first century here this weekend perhaps?
Well, I know if I was coaching, I would be pushing to keep the focus, to keep the processes that we've asked them to in the game plan, to keep it moving forward. And unless the Emirates start to put a little bit more pressure on that second phase at centre pass, I think England will still continue to railroad that space.
And in their own attack, Emirates are struggling to get past that dominant defence of England.
Yes, they definitely need somebody to drive past that transverse line, you know, or even start deeper to come forward. At the moment, they're all on one side of the court and they're all going for the same ball. I think they need to get their timing more regular, and they need to recognise what space each of them are using. When they shoot a drive through the top, it's actually quite nice because then they can pop it into the pockets and it just opens the width a bit more.
So we've got a number of people joining us at Netball here in Huddersfield this evening. So Molly, thank you for your comments, enjoying seeing England play, and great to see your coach Sam Griffin on the bench. I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear the support from you all back home. So live streaming as well, Kendra. A few years ago, matches of this nature at this level wouldn't have been able to be shown to not only the netballing world here in the region, but we know there are people from around the world tuning in. What do you think that adds or puts pressure on the players to contend with that wasn't there previously?
Well, it gives them a platform to perform. It also adds that little bit of pressure because you've been watched. But at the end of the day, there's been an avenue through this because there's a want, there's a need. People want it. There is a commercial element to all of this in the sense that because of where netball standing is in the world and because of the role of women being so strong and empowering at the moment, there is a need for this. People want to see it.
And you can't argue that these young players are indeed athletes, they're role models, they will be working incredibly hard, and all of them will be in full-time education still, so they're balancing the fact that as young athletes they need to work hard on court, they need to work hard in their education, they want to have a balance. As a coach, how do you manage and help the athletes through all of that change?
It's about listening and it's about communication, and what's right for one player might not be right for another, so it is very much about individual needs. But having said that, at the end of the day, netball, and I'm sure you'll attest to this, and I know I'm a recipient of it, it teaches you so many other skills. It gives you life skills. I mean, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without having had the opportunity that netball offered me, and I'm sure there's many other women around here would agree to that. These youngsters are on the pathway. You look at them, they're mature, they're strong, they're articulate, you know, it's brilliant. It's really brilliant to see the values and the skills that they're developing through sport.
And I think we forget that it's not just sport, is it? It's like you're saying, it's everything else that adds.
It's the life skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. So probably not unexpected, we have some changes to bring you. For Emirates, Allen and Stapley have changed, so Allen now back at goal shooter, Stapley out at goal attack, and Warren has come on at goalkeeper. For England, we now have Bowen on at wing defence. She's moved out she's on at goal defence, from wing defence. Tankua's come on at wing defence, and for Juju, the captain, now back at goalkeeper. So showing depth again in their rotation of the defenders. So England start this quarter straight away, 26-13. And Heerdin picking up the loose ball.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see if this new setup in defence can keep the same pressure, and it's good that they've kept the continuity in attack.
So good pressure there. The new combination for Emirates of Warren and Sproul forcing the ball up the back line, but just not being able to keep possession. 27-3, England centre pass. Again, really favouring the right-hand side of the court, England.
Yes, I think that setup from, as I said earlier, from centre pass is one that they will have probably practiced and repeatedly practiced, and it seems to be a little bit of a set play for them. And unless the Emirates put pressure on it, I can't see any reason why it should change.
So Stapley in at goal attack. Great confident shot by her. That will help lift Emirates as well. There is something about a good shot like that having a positive impact.
It does. It lifts the team, and it not just lifts the individual but everyone else around them.
So Thacker again driving the baseline. 29 for England, Emirates 4.
Again, good coverage there by Tankua. Really good arms and really good 3 feet. Very disciplined.
So another challenge that Netball Europe have thrown at these players this weekend to get all the competition in over 3 days. Teams have had to play twice. So there's not only lifting yourself and getting prepared for one international match.
It's a brilliant take. Bayliss, super take on the stretch. Yes, and when you look at Emirates, they've had 4 games in 2 days. They're the team that's had to travel the longest, travel the furthest. Their body clocks must be all over the place.
Well, we were working out last night, Kendra, that when they took to the court in the last game yesterday at 7 o'clock, their bodies would have been saying 11 o'clock because there's a 4-hour difference between here and the Emirates at this moment in time. So it'd be like all of us getting out of bed to play at midnight, really.
And I think, unfortunately, the scoreline suggested that it was a really emphatic win for Scotland. But they're working with energy, they're not giving up, they're working hard. It is difficult for them out there. It's a real challenge against this England full team defence. But they're slowly working their way forward. It's a reset there.
She's well to hold that one, Stapley, but again, for Juju.
And what's really interesting as well, there's very little whistle in this game because it's actually, from an England perspective, it's actually flowing and they've got control.
So perhaps, as you said at the beginning, the game is going England's way, but not completely. 32-4.
Yes, I do think Warren has come on and injected a little bit of energy into that goalkeeper position. She's got a couple tips, but she just needs to get a better body alignment. Nothing to do with her bottom.
We know what you mean.
A better body alignment in order to take cleaner ball.
Oh, that was great. Vision by Van Heerden into Allen. That's what happens. You go out for the ball, you take the ticket, and you find yourself sold. So 33 against 5.
Yeah, lovely pop out through the baseline from Thacker. She got the timing really well. And Bayliss and Roebuck are really dominating that circle. Again, another unforced error. Just angle onto the ball a little bit more and could have taken it cleaner.
So Tankua finds Roebuck, and again, easy pop there from Bayliss into Thacker.
She's got lovely soft hands, Bayliss, when it needs to be. Nice finesse on the ball.
Oh, well held.
Off balance as well.
There is something about recognising the really good players don't always send a bullet. They send a pass which is right for the situation they see in front of them. And we're seeing quite a lot of that with England at the moment.
Again, and that'll come through in their training, through the coaches. You know, at the end of the day, it's not all about brute strength. You know, netball is about subtlety, it's about finesse, it's about good timing and making appropriate decisions. And there England again dominating the top of the edge with Roebuck.
So the score now 37 against 5. We're about halfway through the second quarter here at the University of Huddersfield.
And it's important that England keep their focus as the scoreline is getting a little away from the Emirates and some unforced errors, and it's important from an England perspective that they continue to move the score up and on, but keep plugging away at it.
So both teams presumably will have objectives set by their coaches for each quarter. And whilst the scoreline may be dominant, I'm sure both sets of coaches have set the players some very specific outcomes they want to see achieved. And doing that rather than just continuing with the passion of play is probably more challenging for the players.
Yes, and they need to be challenged because from an English point of view, there's going to be tougher games down the line and they've got to be able to cope mentally with it. You know, and also in terms of Emirates, although the scoreline has really gone away from them now, they've got to keep motoring on to try and keep scoring more and more goals. That was brilliantly seen by Fumi. Such a find.
Reads the game so well, doesn't
yeah.
she? And it's the speed of transition from the circle out to make the interception.
But it's clean ball as well. See, what's interesting here is the use of the triangles, because obviously as a coach, Victoria Burgess could have said, right, well, I want fewer overheads. I want you to work the pocket to the top, and I want you to work the triangles, because against, as I said, better defences and better teams, they've got to be able to adapt.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just under 7 minutes to go, and again, nice down the side and in. Pop on the baseline, 41 plays 5, 42 now.
And I think it's really important to recognise that a lot of those straight line balls that England are doing are actually very difficult to intercept. And it's all about repetition practice to make sure that you have the timing to hit those spaces.
We were talking to Sam Bird yesterday, and everyone knows she's coached at England level. She's coaching 7 Stars. She was saying that you make the players do simple but repetitive passing in training all the time, and for her that's a fundamental element of the way she coaches, because her philosophy is if you don't do it in training, you're not going to walk on the court and somehow magically think you're going to play much better.
It's that intensity at which you do it as well, and it's all about muscle memory. I was actually saying that to my year 9 netballers only on Tuesday. One of the kids said, "Miss, do we have to do this again?" I went, "Yep, you do." And then one of the other kids, "Remember, Mrs. Slavinsky said it's all repetitive and it's good for us." So I felt quite justified.
Well, if both Sam and yourself are saying it, Kendra, it must be right. So Emirates are really being forced to drive the horizontal down the court. They're not really getting any depth on their transition into attack.
Oh, it's good front ball and it's clean ball coming from behind as well, and it's that fast transition that they just can't cope with, unfortunately.
So Thacker scores another 45 against 5. 5 minutes on the clock until half time.
Having the confidence to give that first time ball. Even if you're just making 2 yards, the ball should have gone. By the time she's turned, hopefully there's somebody else into the second space. It's that hesitation that's making things mistimed and people unavailable.
And that was just a really good, clean, visionary ball by Roebuck, finding Thacker again under the post.
And this is just where England are dominating, because it's their turnover ball that they're converting.
So I think that's offside's a reflection of the frustration perhaps that Emirates are feeling.
Yes, I think the coach needs to have a quick word at half-time just to look at repositioning on that centre pass. You know, both are on the line. They might need to stack it. One of them might have to come off and delay the run. Just something different to make the England defence think, because at the moment they're totally dominating that centre pass.
Great hands there by goal attack Rimmer. Really dominant shooting by Thacker for England in this game so far.
She's got nice movement, she's got a nice turn into space as well. She's not just a normal, what I call tall shooter. She's got other elements to her game which are important to develop.
We've got a number of people tweeting in at the moment to us. Janet Young, I know you can't be down here with us right now. We've missed you this weekend. I hope you're enjoying the live streaming, and we hope to see you back with us again as soon as possible.
Yes, that's just too easy for England. 2 passes and a goal. I think that sort of summed up the last 10 minutes of this quarter.
Whereas the difference is England are forcing the high ball, pushing them wide, and then coming in for...
And generally taking clean ball. It's good coverage. Seeing there's an unforced error, wing attack offside.
Umpire rightly just asking Faduju to take it in the right place.
Should that have been a reverse penalty? Let's not go there. Yeah, lovely take. Yeah, she's definitely got a toolkit as a shooter. Can take the high ball, can come front, can hold the body and use the backspace.
So with just a minute and a half to go into half time, England 54-5. So quarter-wise, they've scored more consistently in this quarter than the first. Emirates are only 2-3 in the first quarter, so pretty much the same performance. Really struggling to get the right passage of play into their shooters.
Yeah, there's no... Oh no. Hopefully that's just a tumble and not an injury.
Yeah, I think that's something a little bit more serious. The girls need to go to their benches and get together. Let's hope that's just the initial shock of the injury. So let's hope Bowen will be okay. So just under a minute now, Kendra, until we get to half time. Probably not that surprising a score. Perhaps thought it might be a little bit closer than it actually is proving to be.
Yes, the Emirates are struggling, but they're also very impatient in their own attack. But then having said that, there's an awful lot of pressure down there from England. They're covering front ball. They're tracking their players really well. They've got good hands over, very clean intercepts. So it is difficult. So any ball that they have, they need to just treasure it to make sure that they're accurate and their execution is spot on.
Would it be fair to say that the Emirates team probably haven't played against a team of the calibre of England up to now?
Yeah, and I think it's a first-time experience for them, and I think they'll learn an awful lot from them. But I think it's a credit to both teams in terms of Emirates continuing to try and do their game plan, and England certainly continuing to do their game plan and put things in place.
And now an injury to a player is always difficult for a team, well both teams in fact. It does resonate a little bit. Bowen's being helped off the court now, so we'll get her the medical treatment she needs. And we wish her, of course, the very best. Had a good game so far.
Very much so. She's very much part of that group of defensive players who can take credit from a scoreline of 54-5.
So the teams are retaking to the court now to the injury timeout. Players will be pleased to get underway. I think one of the aspects of England's game which has been particularly impressive this weekend is the speed of transition and the speed of seeing where the availability of the ball is, and there's usually at least 2 options available, so the decision making is really positive.
And I totally agree, and again that comes through practice, and that comes through familiarity, and that comes through time spent on the court together.
I think, am I right in saying that 6 of these young players are all with Manchester Thunder?
They are. I think we've got 2 with Surrey Storm, a Maverick, 2 Bath and a London Pulse. So it's good to see that quite a number of the franchise are recognised with their youngsters.
And there we go, into half-time. Very dominant game by England so far, leading 56 goals to 5 at half-time. So consistent scoring, 31 that quarter by England, only 2 by Emirates. So they're going to have, obviously, I think about the combinations. If you were the coach, if you were DJ, Deb Jones right now, what would you be saying to the team?
I'd certainly be making changes, and I'd be certainly asking them to do the basics well from turnover ball, and certainly look at perhaps some adaptations and changes coming in off centre pass, because if they can score off their centre pass, they'll get a little bit more confident.
So we will see shortly when the teams retake to the bench. Kendra is having a quick break now, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome into commentary this evening somebody who is very well known. Jo Adams, Chief Exec of England Netball. Welcome, really delighted to have you with us here this evening.
Thank you very much, it's fabulous to be here, great to have seen some netball finally.
It's an interesting comment, but actually as Chief Exec of Netball, you probably don't see very much netball at all.
I don't see as much as I'd like to, I must admit. Yeah, when I come to things like this, people tend to collar me and I end up speaking to volunteers, which is still brilliant, but yeah, it's lovely to have sat down and watched that first half. Unfortunate, obviously, the incident there, and our best wishes are with her.
Yeah, so we're hoping Bowen will be fine, and I'm sure we'll hear later on in the game, but you must be really pleased with the dominant performance of England out there this evening.
Oh, it's just wonderful to see. I mean, you know, what the Vitality Roses have done over the last few years has been incredible, but to know that we've got depth like this coming through is just fantastic. And I mean, it's great to see all the teams here, but yeah, to see the depth of quality that we've got and the passion that those girls play, you know, they are desperate, every one of them, to finally put that red dress on and be a Vitality Rose.
Which is great, and it's great for England, but it's, as you say, it's also great for the other teams around. And England's had a big day today, Jo, hasn't it? Because you've also launched the new Heritage Centre up here in Huddersfield. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have launched that. We've got so many fantastic archives, and previously it was always a bit of a joke that they were held in Sheila's cupboard in Hitchin. But now they're fabulous. They're on display here, and it just means that people can come along and really see all the heritage. And it's all now online as well, so you can go online and view it if you can't get up to Huddersfield, but it's wonderful to remember all those people that came before. And to celebrate that, because I think sometimes, it gets locked away, we don't see it, and we've got this new saying that it's from navy blue knickers to Nike, and we want people to see how the game has changed.
And of course some of your archives aren't just about England, you've got archive material from across the region, interestingly.
Yeah, we have, and we'd love more to come in. That's the whole point of it. It's a celebration of netball, and although England Netball are leading it, we'd love as much memorabilia that we can possibly get our hands on, and it is a bit of an appeal really to all those netballers out there. If they've got stuff that they'd love to donate, we would love to have it.
Well, if Cheryl Jansen is listening right now, she's got a whole cupboard of Netball Europe stuff, which I think will be finding its way up to Huddersfield very soon. And of course, we can't talk to you without mentioning what's happening in Liverpool this year, July, Netball World Cup, not very long away now.
No, it's not, and it doesn't seem 5 minutes since 2013 when we went over to New Zealand and we put that bid in, and we were very fortunate to win that. And it's crept up on us, but I mean the one great thing is we've hit our commercial targets. That was the real worry about this, and we've done over £2 million worth of ticket sales, which is just fantastic. So we can now really concentrate on making that a most spectacular event, and an event for the athletes and for the fans. So we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic, and the new TV deal that we've got as well means that the whole world can watch.
And I think everyone here feels that excitement, and we were talking earlier that some of these young players here who are seeing 14, 15, it will be their absolute dream to go to a Netball World Cup in the future, and to see it hosted here again since it was 1995 in Birmingham, the last time England hosted a World Cup. So when we go in possibly 2 World Cups times, some of these athletes might actually be competing for a place.
Well, absolutely, and let's hope they are. I mean, I remember a few years ago before I had the CEO role, and we did a photo shoot with some of these youngsters. One of them was actually Georgie Fisher, and I remember having that conversation. She was 13 at the time, and I just said, "What do you want to do, Georgie?" And she said, "I want to be at a World Cup." And it's a really wonderful thing to then see how she's progressed, and I can't wait to see. There's some real talent out there. I can't wait to see what these girls do. But exactly, let's hope they're all up in Liverpool. Let's hope it inspires them to continue their netball journey, and we also want people to be inspired to come and play as well. We want the World Cup to make sure it provides a legacy for just your average recreational participant as well as these talented athletes.
And of course we talk about it a lot, and we can't have you here without mentioning that result last year. I get quite emotional talking about it. I can't remember how many times I've watched those final few seconds. I cry every time. That Commonwealth gold medal, that Helen Housby final shot in the last, literally the end of the game. What do you think that's meant for not only England netball, but netball here in the region and around the world?
Well, I mean, for England, I'm the same, Lynn. I get very emotional when I think about it, because you know yourself how hard people work to get that team to do what they do. But for us, the participation levels have gone through the roof. It's brought commercial return to us. It's brought new TV deals to us. It's been fantastic, and I hope across the region it's inspired lots of youngsters to start taking up the sports in the other countries across the region, because that's what we need. We need that depth across the region. So I hope it's inspired a whole generation in the European region, and that's really our job, as we probably are the dominant nation, and that's really our job. We want Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, we want all those other countries to be great, because to tell you, it costs a lot to go to Australia and New Zealand all the time, so it would ease my budgets most definitely. But yeah, winning that medal, it just catapulted the sport, and even across the world, I think it sent shockwaves, and people were getting, I think, a little bit bored about seeing Australia, New Zealand all the time in finals.
Well, we've said for so many years, haven't we, that any sport that only has 1 or 2 teams that are, the regular outcome loses that ability to be interesting and inspiring, and to see that the art, the possible is actually there. It's not always going to be the same old. If you work hard enough, there are rewards out of it, and I think England have shown that's absolutely possible. So Netball World Cup starts, you probably know exactly how many weeks away it is?
Yeah, I think it was, well, I don't know the weeks, it was 100 and some, I should know that. I'm not sure exactly how many weeks. Yeah, I've been away, yeah, so I'm not sure how many weeks it is, but it's a bit sooner than I'd like it to be really. But yeah, July the 12th, we start it off, and what can I say? We just hope we do as well as we possibly can. Jamaica and South Africa as well. There's a whole mix of teams there. It's not just the 3 of us that are going to be battling to be in that final.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you, of course, along with Wales and Scotland, all the very best. Northern Ireland are competing out there. We hope you're all successful, and we will hopefully see you in Liverpool. Thank you very much, Jo, for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we see the teams, both Emirates now on the court and England rejoining the match. Probably not surprising, we have a number of substitutions to bring you. So for England, you can see that Bartlett is on at wing attack. Harding is coming at goal defence. That was a substitution that happened just before half time. Molly Hole on at goal shooter, Neil at goal attack, and Rayner on at centre. And for Emirates, Begley comes in at wing defence, Gouldshot in at goal defence, and Russo on at wing attack. So Kendra, not surprisingly, the teams have run the bench somewhat.
Yes, and Emirates have had a quick goal, which is pleasing for them. So straight away they've had impact and they've got turnover ball.
So netball coaches talk about the score per quarter. So those who've come on now really have an opportunity, I guess, from both teams to show that what they can do, and also give the coach a bit of a nudge to say, well, actually, you should have selected me in the first place.
Yes, players are very good at doing those nudges.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is very much a 12 performance. You know, the use of the bench is really important, particularly at international level, and particularly of a competition that is intense as this over 3 days.
So Emirates centre pass.
Again, it's an unfortunate breakdown off their own possession that England will more than likely capitalise on.
And straight under the post there to Molly Hole, who's come on for this quarter.
You could say normal practice has resumed, I guess, even with the changes that England has made.
So 60 playing sixth. There will be some pride in the Emirates wanting to better that scoreline, I'm sure.
Absolutely, but they've got to find their shooters with more accuracy than they are at the moment.
So remember, if you'd like to join us on Twitter, use our hashtag NE under17 champs. Anita James, glad that you're joining in and you've enjoyed some of the netball earlier on. I think you're either a Welsh or a Scotland fan, judging by the comment there. Claire Heasley, always a fan of netball. Thank you for retweeting some of our tweets and keeping in touch. And Jack Cumming was very pleased with Nina and the Scottish team earlier. We agree, great performance by them.
That's great defence by Faduju, just putting pressure on the jump, through the jump, 3-second hold, and there's the easy transition down for England. Possibly a slight offside missed. Just reset it to the top, triangle pass, uncomplicated netball.
There's been a number of coaches that have been involved over the years. Some of their best advice, as I said the other day, is netball's a simple game. Keep it simple, keep possession and score off your centre pass.
But I must admit, the England defence are making life very difficult for Emirates. There's no first time ball, there's very little secondary movement once they've made the first move. They've got to go again, they've got to keep driving space on ball.
Faduju again, reading the game.
Forcing the error.
Stokely slightly annoyed with herself.
lovely roll out from the post.
Neil using her split landing to really good effect there. 63-6.
And we've had a whole attacking end change from England, and it hasn't disrupted their flow or their rhythm. And I think that's a testament to a team that's been very well coached.
Do you want to put that ball over those two England defenders?
No, I would have got cross with her for not moving her feet quick and backing up. Now, I know people will say, oh, you're being horrible, but it is a very difficult skill, that backing up, but it just needed an extra quick step, and she'd have taken that cleanly. But I think even at this level, that's how precise and pedantic you need to be with these skills.
So you can see that England are still playing very dominantly here, 64 playing 6. 9 minutes to go now, Kendra to three-quarter time.
Some neat little drop ball there.
That real good speed of transition, great rotation by the goal shooter and goal attack. Great ball in, finding holes, so score 66 against 6. We've only seen Emirates score 1 this quarter.
Yes, and it's not surprising because they are really struggling to attack off their centre pass. There's a real dominant trio of goal defence, wing defence and centre, really smothering the space at on that centre pass line.
And conversely, you can see England's confidence being that much higher. They're seeing the space, they're giving the first ball.
Yeah, and the Emirates are the exact opposite. I think the other thing is England are still running into spaces where Emirates go and then stop. That was a poor execution. That was a bit of a surprise by Molly Hull. I think she surprised herself as well. Again, the execution means that England come out with the ball. It's 2 passes and it's back practically underneath the post.
So let's see what Emirates can do. Just being forced to give the long ball, which it's just not getting to the players. No.
Oh, lovely drive onto the edge through Rayner.
So Molly Hull takes England 69-6. She's a Bath player.
Just need to finish off that follow through. That's much better, a little bit more height on those shots. And there's that great defence on the transverse line by England. The ball's having to go back. That was a nice dodge, but not seen.
Every ball is contested. They're just not quite getting clear of the arms and pressure from England, Emirates.
And it's the low starting point. So they've either got to fake it to get rid of the arms and then go, or get the ball higher, because they're not going to have that execution from so low. It's not going to happen.
So with 5 minutes of this quarter remaining, England 71, Emirates on 6. So Van Heerden. What I like about the Emirates team is they're just not giving up. They're trying everything they can. They will have a massive opportunity to learn from this game.
Yes, it's a tough learning curve while they're out there. But again, it's the dominant high defence by the England attack that has created the turnover for themselves.
73 now against 6. Great ball in again.
Again, England using their good feet and their awareness around the body. And again, the turnover is happening because there's just inaccurate feeding.
They're asking for the ball away and over all the time. Perhaps need to look back to the transverse line, build again, drive to the top of the circle, almost do what England are doing so well down this end. But that was great reading by Warren.
Yeah, she's come on and like I said, she gets hand to ball, she gets herself into nice positions, but from an Emirates attacker point of view, they stand behind the England defence, and even if they dodged away to come forward onto the same side of the ball, it's different and it would help.
So as England come down for the next attack, Karen May, thank you for joining in and enjoying the live streaming. Really appreciate any comments and feedback. This is game 8 this weekend. 2 more to come tomorrow before we know the final outcomes for this event. So if you have nothing else to do on a Sunday, and of course all we have to do at the weekend is netball, please join us tomorrow morning 11 o'clock to see Wales take on Northern Ireland, which could be a crunch match, Kendra. And at 1 o'clock, the last game of the tournament, England versus Scotland. But don't rush off after that, because we will bring to you the presentation of the awards this weekend live on the stream here on Twitter, YouTube or Facebook. So the umpire pulling the 2 captains over. So having a conversation with Gottschalk there. Not quite sure.
Might be persistent fouling.
Usually the umpires would normally give a caution,
but I've not seen a signal for a warning, unless that was the formal warning. But she's still in the mix, still working hard for her team. That was a lovely mix-up from the defence by the Emirates. You know, they put a double on and then they rolled round to take the intercept. So it was good that they were trying to muddle the space.
So Neil again, 78 against 6. Please join us on the conversation here if you're watching in. Hashtag NE under17 champs. So great to have, and I'm going to struggle to say it, WRI Rob PE with us this weekend and enjoying the live stream. You must have a shortened version of that which you can send us to get it right. But I hope everyone who's watching in, and there's been significant numbers over the weekend, are of course enjoying the quality of these athletes here at the under-17 championship event in Huddersfield.
Again, England will be Emirates will hopefully be looking to finish this quarter strongly. Hopefully they can get ball to transfers down to their circle. They've had very little opportunity this quarter. Stapley still working really hard. England just need to look out of their 3 feet, just lengthen it. It's a better reset, a little bit more patient, but still struggling to work the ball forward.
So a lot of balls getting forced sideways, isn't there? There's not much penetration on the
No, it's very lateral.
vision. So somebody we know very well at Netball Europe is watching live. Sarah Jones, CEO for Welsh Netball. Good to hear that you're enjoying seeing your under-17s play, Sarah, and congratulations on Celtic Dragons, who took, I understand, a win in Surrey at Surrey Storm. Kendra's looking very amused. So well done, Celtic Dragons. Great to hear. And of course, many of these young under-17 players and the Wales team and here at England may all very well go on to become Super League players of the future. Wright Robinson College is what the Twitter handle, if I get the terminology right, and your person in particular supporting your pupil is Stacey Tenkawa, who is now on court and has had a good game so far since she came on at half-time.
She's an Oldham girl, an Oldham club girl.
Okay.
I should say Northern Thunder by. That's telling my age. Manchester Thunder.
So whilst you're enjoying the netball, let us show you some of the highlights of the last quarter and leave those with you for a few minutes, and we will rejoin you shortly, ready for the last 15 minutes here at the University of Huddersfield. So you've seen there that there's been some exciting play in the quarter. Highlights for you so far of the match, Kendra?
I just like the fact that the Emirates are not giving up and that they're trying different things. And it's quite obvious they're still struggling across that transverse line. But equally, you can be very impressed with this England group of players. They've made changes, they've come in, and it's not impacted on scoreline at all. It's not impacted on flow. So it's really encouraging from an England perspective that we've got this young group hopefully coming through for good things.
So if we looked at the quarter scores, they've been fairly consistent. I think England defence, as you said, has been very dominant, really put a huge amount of pressure on whichever combination Emirates have put out. Lower scoring, interestingly, in that quarter by England than the other two, 23 goals, 31 in the second quarter and 25 in the first, but still pretty much a very similar level.
Yeah, just a little bit of undershooting, I think, on some of the shots from Hole and Neal, but they've got nice movement, and as you can attest to, a lot of turnover ball because the Emirates just haven't scored off their centre pass. I mean, we've even had Berry Neal taking intercepts down on the third line off a centre pass. She's a goal attack.
You say it's if goal attacks aren't meant to do that, Kendra. As a former goal attack, I'm sitting here, must be challenging you on that point on behalf of all the goal attacks around the world.
Well, I think there were times when you challenged me enough on the court, Lynn, don't you? And we had some right royal little battles. All good fun. All good fun.
And actually, what we say a lot in Netball Europe is that it's competitive on the court, but collaborative off. And I think if you listen to Joe Adams, the Chief Executive of England Netball, at half-time, whilst England are clearly the strongest team in the region, she absolutely recognises and wants to support the development of netball across the region, recognising how important it is for them as England that we support and make sure the region is as strong as it possibly can be.
Absolutely, and that's got to be reflected internationally as well across the board, and none more so than at this moment in time when we're building up to a World Cup where we could have 4 or 5 teams in the mix for the title. It's been a long time since you could say that.
It has indeed. So Emirates start this last 15 with a centre pass. We'll bring you the changes in just a moment as quickly as we can do.
Again, that's really good closing down the space by England, and the back defender comes in and reaps the benefit of the intercept.
Oh, nice there by Sethi, just come back on at goalkeeper. Understanding there with her and Warren was really effective.
Oh, that was a really nice, comfortable ball over the top. If they have the confidence to do that a little bit more, they'll find the spaces in the depth. And I think that's Inez Rousseau that's come on and had a little bit of an impact at centre.
It's a shame when they work so hard and there's that unforced error. But in some ways it's not unforced because it's partly been driven by the pressure that the opposition are putting on.
Absolutely. But the thing is, they will learn from this. I mean, this is a tremendous experience, and you know that there could also be an element of fatigue in with some of those errors, because they're the only team that in the last 4 days have the last 2 days have had to play 4 games. This is their final game this evening, and it's not surprising that there might be a tail off in terms of the execution of their skills.
And of course, it's worth remembering that as an international side, very much like the Isle of Man, both Emirates and the Isle of Man are really new member countries. They've only really been in existence for a couple of years, fully formed as they are. So for them to come and for Emirates to have won the challenge section last year and to being promoted up here, and to have come away with a win against Northern Ireland, which may keep them in this championship next year, they should go home feeling pretty satisfied with their performance.
I would absolutely agree with everything you've said there. And also, when you think about it, it wasn't a win per se. It was a win that was like 1 goal, so it was to the wire game. They've probably not had that before, and so that kind of competition, and to then fulfill the promise of winning that match, is really important for them.
So Ellen now, let's hope she gets one in for it. 83 plays 7. Good pressure by Emirates. That much better defence on that one, forcing the ball. That wasn't that quick transition into attack we've seen previously. So as you will have seen, if you're eagle-eyed and watching the changes on the court, Harding is now out at wing defence and Tanku has gone back at goal defence. So our friends out at Robinson, Wright Robinson, will be still pleased that Tanku is on the court and having a really good game.
They've got lovely elevation in that circle. And I will apologise to Inez Shama. I called her Inez Rousseau, but it was Inez Shama who's come on at centre and had an impact for the Emirates. Got the first name right.
And interesting that Van Heerden, who's played centre for most of the tournament, has gone back again into goal attack. also, I think one of the things we've said about these players is they're offering a level of flexibility and options for the coaches.
And again, it's just the placement of that final pass. But they are looking to reset it, looking for options around the circle edge.
Looking to create some space in the circle. Van Heerden. Nice waiting on that ball. Fortunately, the shot didn't just land for her. That's a shame when you put all that effort into creating an opportunity.
And I think that's the story that Emirates have had in this game, whereas the exact opposite for England, where they turn over ball and they transition smoothly and it lands.
As it did just then for Molly Hull. So England now 86, Emirates on 8.
And you can just see the ease with which England can take that second phase off centre pass practically on the circle edge. Thought twice about putting the overhead ball in, and they are thinking not to put the overhead in. But again, it's just a shame that the execution and that final pass goes away.
It's just that last bit of placement. I'm actually sometimes not sure whether the Emirates players see where the defenders are or anticipate their reach.
I think usually as a coach, what you're trying to say is your attack on the edge of the circle is just put it away from the defence's arm. I think you've got to visualise, you know, how athletic are they, how much high can they jump, what's their width span like. So it's about popping it into spaces away from the defence.
So Emirates have got a good turnover.
But it's also the goal attack and the goal shooter have a role in order to create the space to move. And at the moment it's just a little bit static.
So good shot again by Hull, creeping closer to perhaps what the coaches for England, Vic Burgess, has set. So 88 playing 8. Do you think she's asked them for the big magical number out there?
I thought so, particularly as they were over 50 at half time, and I guess DJ is wanting for her team to get into double figures, and those have got to be some of the targets.
The challenges for coaches at events like this, Kendra. So we can look in, we can talk about what's happening on the court. The coaches clearly have very short windows of opportunity to influence what's happening. How do you really, you know, drive the change that's needed?
I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to reflect well, and it depends how, as a coach, you reflect. Do you reflect just obviously on your own for your own performance, but you also can reflect with conversation with your team. And I used to find that, you know, particularly coaching teams, you get great honesty from your players. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are wanting to drive your vision forward, so you've got to have them on board.
So 91, score is creeping up. Nice to hear from Michelle Harper down in Surrey. Glad you joined us this evening, Michelle. Hope to see lots of performances of this nature on Tuesday. And that was a much better ball into Allen there, Kendra. Yay!
And because the ball was comfortable for her to take, in a sense there was no pressure on her just to do her normal action. Took a very well balanced ball and was able to shoot from it, and England are getting that every time.
So come on, Emirates. 92-9, 6 minutes just under here. great to see the crowd have stayed here this evening. You know, Saturday night in Huddersfield, lots of commitment. All of you tuning in on live streaming, what a great ball and what a great take by Molly Hull there.
The Emirates have just got to keep doing their own individual job on their own individual player, man to man, or if they're doubling up, and just put as much pressure on the England team as they can.
Now, we will have a player of the tournament announced tomorrow in the presentation. We don't know who it is. The way it works is that the coach of one team votes for the person in the opposition they feel is the strongest player. Those results go to the appeals panel. It's all kept under lock and key.
It's like the Oscars.
It is a little bit. And on Sunday at the presentation after the final game, we will announce who has been voted player of the tournament by the coaches. So quite an accolade. Do you think anyone is emerging from what you've seen of the games today or this game this evening?
I said right at the front of commentary, I love Fumi Fanduja. As a defender, her range of movement, her clean intercepts. But equally, when you look at Warren from Emirates, her work rate, her work ethic, trying to take ball in difficult circumstances, you can't fault it. So, you know, at the end of the day, you can look at all players in terms of what skills they offer. But those two, for me, have stood out a little bit today.
Oh, there she is.
There she is again.
Faduji making a nuisance of herself in there in the
Don't you just love it when defence make nuisances of themselves?
Not viewer shooter, Kendra, no.
And again, it's clean transition, and you know, despite the fact that Emirates have not been in much of the game, they've been in parcels of the game. You know, England have kept their focus.
It is really impressive to watch for the team. So 97 against 9. We've got just 3 minutes on the clock here now. Still time if you'd like to send us a message here on our social media Twitter feed. We have got it up here in front of Kendra and I. So use our hashtag NE17 Champs, and we would be delighted to read out a comment for you from you.
Great hands, Lynn. For those of you off screen, Lynn has just taken the ball very cleanly, I may add. Hasn't
Really
lost her skills.
I have to be honest.
Oh, great mid goal there.
So there we go. Real big cheer from the whole of the crowd, which is really nice to see. 98 playing 10. Really pleased for Emirates.
Ken Sharma trying to make a nuisance of herself around the circle edge.
Great tenacity by those players, isn't there?
I mean, if I was their coach, I'd be really proud of them. Their work rate and their work ethic, they haven't given up.
Now, are Emirates going to score another and keep England from scoring that big 100? Not, unfortunately, if Neil has anything to do with it.
And she's been effective since she's come on in terms of her defence, not just her attacking prowess, but also defensively.
And as you can hear, the England supporters go mad. But to be fair, you can see Emirates in the crowd there clapping and supporting just as well. It's a really good sign of support from everybody for the match this evening, and acknowledging the quality of play that England have put out this evening.
Absolutely, and that mutual respect is so important. And again, Harding's just come through with a really clean intercept. Patience from England, playing it round the D.
Neil opting to pop under to Hull, who again makes no mistake. So Gary Patton, thank you for being here. You can sending a message to Tyler Sue, who we feel is one of our strongest volunteers, great netball fan, and she's also doing a great job on our netball social media feed this weekend on behalf of Netball Europe. been showing she's not only effective in the centre court, but she'll take on those pressure shots as well. So last few seconds. Hole makes sure. 102 plays 11. And forced error there on breaking the centre line.
And again, that first time ball offload into the space is winning netball.
And there you can see all the crowd appreciative of the fact that Emirates kept fighting tonight, but the quality and the consistency and the effectiveness of this England young athletes has been really impressive.
And a lot of credit goes to Vicky Burgess, who's brought this group together with her management team and her coaching staff. She should feel rightly proud of the performance they've put out this weekend. Big game tomorrow for them against Scotland. Will they finish as gold medal winners? And Wales against Northern Ireland. How's that one going to turn out? Some cracking games to look forward to, but very well done, England. And commiserations to Emirates, but boy, isn't it great that European netball is on the rise.
So 104 plays 11. I don't think anyone can argue with who has been the outstanding team this weekend so far. And great to see the Emirates and England teams coming together, and it's that whole competitive on the court, collaborative and friends off the court. And you know, you and I played against each other for many years, Kendra, but still that ability, we're still both here, we're still volunteering for the sport we love, and it is that camaraderie which drives the wonderful thing that is netball.
It's those life skills that netball gives you besides what it offers you on the court. It's invaluable.
So you can see some of the highlights now on the screen in front of you. So many moments to celebrate, such great netball all over the court. So that's it now for day 2 here in Huddersfield for the Netball Europe U17 Championship. And what a day it's been. England took off this morning against Northern Ireland 89-12. Very competitive game between Wales and Emirates, with Wales taking the lead 58-34. This evening we saw Northern Ireland take on Scotland, again very competitive. Didn't quite take that one, but Scotland 57-33, and then a pretty magnificent final game this evening, 104-11. But don't forget, that's not all the netball we have here this weekend. There are 2 amazing games tomorrow. Wales v Northern Ireland live at 11 o'clock, and then followed, of course, by our final game of the weekend, match number 10, England versus Scotland at 1 o'clock. Stay with us after that, because we will bringing you the presentation live. So thanks, Kendra Savinsky. It's been brilliant to have you here this evening. Fantastic commentary, really enjoyed having you. Our special thanks go to Netball Europe, our sponsors Inspire Sport, Yorkshire and Humberside Netball, who've helped deliver this event this weekend, QTV Sports, and of course to all of you at home. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening, and we'll see you back here 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Good evening.